Hi, this is Charles Max Wood, and I've been asked more times than I can count, how do I stay current? There's a lot to this question, and I'm working on a solution: code badges. That's right, you heard me right. Basically, the idea is that you come and do a code badge, and that gets you an introduction to a topic. Then you can decide if you want to pursue it further. But while working on the badge, you gain enough proficiency to be able to pick it up again if you need. A lot of technology comes through on the bleeding edge, and not all of it sticks, but the principles do. So doing badges on the technologies that will get you ahead will provide you with experience needed to stay competitive. Plus, it offers social proof that you know something about the topic. The project is on Kickstarter right now. You can support it and get on the launch list at codebadge.org. Hey everybody, and welcome to another My JavaScript Story. This week we're talking to Sérgio Crisóstomo. Sérgio, do you want to say hello?
Yeah, hello. I'm very, very happy to be part of this show. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad to have you here. Just a quick reminder, we are interviewing podcast listeners now and not just podcast guests. So Sérgio, he answered an email that I sent out to the email list. If you go to devchat.tv, you can join the list and get emails like he did. And anyway, it was terrific to just, I love seeing people with a smiling face coming on. You know, they listen to the show and they get stuff out of it, which is always nice to hear. And so, I'm excited to just talk through your story and see what your perspective is on things. So just to get rolling, how did you get into programming?
Yeah, well, the beginning was with the Spectrum 128K when I was a kid. And of course, most of my friends just played games with cassettes loading, and I started to get more curious about coding and started to write really simple things, like mostly plotting lines on the screen. I thought it was really cool to do it with BASIC. So that was where I got infected with the programming, you can say.
Awesome. Yeah, Spectrum. I'm trying to remember. I've heard of those ones, but I haven't actually played with them.
Yeah, it was like the Amiga concurrent, that generation.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so like 30 years ago.
I was going to say, that makes you about my age, I think.
I'm 78, born 78. So I'm 40
there you
now.
go.
Yeah,
I was born in 79, so.
Okay. Yeah,
my age.
Exactly.
So was it BASIC that you were programming or something else?
Yeah, exactly, BASIC. And I got stuck with it in a way that I really liked it. And then I had a cousin that also got inspired from me. And then we together, started doing stuff together. It was really fun to not be alone, just to try to show each other things we were doing. Mm-hmm. And that took some years. And then better computers came and better games. So I stopped programming because it was more fun, or more fast at least, to play games. But then it turned out that I was already, it got stuck into me, so I came back to it later on in life. Yeah.
Very cool. So what was it about programming that got you interested? Because some people, they get in, they try it and they're like, yeah, this isn't for me. So what was it that got you excited about it?
I think it was specific with BASIC, it was like a combination of problem solving, not knowing the rules and trying to hack them, trying to find out. Because I didn't have any book, I didn't have any manual to follow. I just tried to put code working. And then, of course, to see on screen things that I created, because it was really magic to get all those games and things happen on the screen and you don't know how they are done. And suddenly I was doing small steps towards that. Mm-hmm. And it felt really empowering to feel that I could also write some lines and things happen on the screen. So I think problem solving, most of it, and then getting to see things happening. Yeah,
that makes sense. It's funny because when I was a kid, I was doing like logo with a little turtle that you put the pen down and make it move. And it's the same kind of thing, right? Where it was, I can make shapes. I can make interesting shapes, and then some of the things from there. So I definitely get that. How did you wind up then becoming like a professional programmer? What was your journey there?
Yeah, that's a long journey. The thing is, I did my high school, and I had because my family, it's a lot of musicians, so I had both music conservatory and high school going on. And when I was 18, I had quite good grades in math and physics. Yeah, it was for me natural because, as I said, my family was musicians. So in the end of high school, I had both good grades in music and math and physics. So I thought, well, what should I do? Should I go engineering or should I go music? And my father, that is a musician, said, you go engineering because music, you don't get paid. And, so it was, I did what he wanted. So I went to robotics program engineering in Lisbon. And it turned out that I really liked it, of course, but I felt my fingers couldn't play as fast as I wanted in my brain. So my musical ideas were not coming as fast in my fingers because I was not practicing. So after 2.5 years, I quit that program. And during that time, of course, a lot of thinking from that area, like engineering, to contrast with music, came into me, and I kept it. And also there were some Pascal subjects that I did. I didn't feel really inspired by it. I thought still the memories I had from childhood were stronger than what I got Pascal. So I went to music university and did my master's in classical violin. Yeah, so that's my still today my highest level of university education. So with that, I moved to Sweden from Portugal because I felt in love with a concept they have here for schools, which is called folkhögskola, where you can live in the school and study 24 hours, whatever you want. And it was really fantastic. So I started working there. And then after a while, I got head of the music department. And then I needed, for example, a database library for our scores. So I started programming one. And more or less at the same time, my ex-wife, which is Swedish, needed a website for renting houses in Portugal. And I did the HTML and CSS. It went quite good, but suddenly she needed a calendar to manage things, and it was getting really messy, to have things on mail. So I asked this cousin that I had from childhood that had become a computer engineer. Oh, I need your help now after all these years. And he said, yeah, great, I can help you. I don't have time to do it myself, but I will guide you through it.
Right.
So I started with PHP website, and then he said, oh, there is this JavaScript libraries, you check it out, either jQuery or MoTools, because it was his references from childhood. And we ended up taking MoTools at the time. And for me, everything was really new, and I didn't know anything about either PHP and JavaScript. So I just, fake it till you make it. So that was kind of my journey, trying to hack and making things happen. And after some years, I got the website working, PHP and the MoTools on the front end. And I ended up also getting involved with the MoTools community because I needed someone to answer questions for me. I had no one in my day-to-day life that could help me that. So the MoTools community and, of course, Stack Overflow were really important keys for me to continue because I love solving problems. And it was maybe a bit too big of a problem to build a website with a calendar and a booking system and stuff. But I managed with the help. And so this was while I was doing full-time music work, both touring around the world and as a head of the music department. And then after some years, it was needed one more upgrade on the website to synchronize house owners and taxi drivers and cleaning people so that everything would be, when a booking comes, emails will fire out to these people so that they accept it and get instantaneous bookings for things, coordinate that. So I upgraded to Node.js on the server, and then the front end I did with React. And because most people from MoTools had went to work on Facebook, and React was really popular and stuff. So I was programming quite a lot apart from my full-time job. And then more or less at the same time, Stack Overflow opened the Portuguese site, and I thought it was really cool and got involved there. And after a while, I got to be one of the mods there. So I spent a lot of time there helping other people, especially from Brazil or Portugal that are not so fluent in English. They can get extra help there with with the natural Portuguese language that we speak. So that was also something that gave me a lot of good feelings to be in a position of helping back, because I got so much from the MoTools community and from Stack Overflow. And that made me feel good about contributing to the community, which I've been doing, of course, with the MoTools, for example, helping with bug fixes and stuff. But it was more concrete. It was people that were having problems that I could solve. It was really cool.
Interesting. So can I back you up there for a minute? So you get into Mood Tools, and then you basically go and switch from PHP to Node.
Yeah.
What was the reasoning there? Because there are a lot of backend systems. I mean, Java has a whole bunch of frameworks. Ruby has Ruby on Rails and a handful of others. It seems like there are a lot of options for backend. So what appealed to you with Node.js?
Yeah, I think I got stronger and stronger in JavaScript. Mm-hmm. And at the time, Mood Tools were doing the new website, and I got to be one of them. It was like two people that were really pushing it forward, me and Arjan. And it was Node.js on the back end. And for me, it was very interesting to see JavaScript performing and doing both sides. So I could do JavaScript on the back end and the front end. It felt so much easier because PHP still has some things that you need to control over, and it's so big community, and with that so much frameworks and stuff you should know. And I felt more comfortable in JavaScript. So I think it was just mostly that I felt stronger in JavaScript, and Node.js was a challenge also.
Cool. So what kinds of things have you built in JavaScript then? Because it sounds like you've kind of been working on and upgrading the same handful of sites, but have you done other things? Or are there other interesting things that you're just like, man, this was a really cool project you want to talk about?
Yeah. So I started doing some freelance work, small project in the beginning and helping friends with small things. And later, one day I was doing this interesting football training app where I was doing all the animations on field. So you could, with a finger, draw how the players should move. Like the coach would draw a lot of movements and have a tactic. And then you would have a play button with a scroll, and you could go back and forth and pause and show like 20 players on the field moving. And that was quite complex because it should work in different browsers and tablets. And it was really cool because you could plan at home different strategies that you could share between coaches and then show it to the team and put it back and forth. And the next step would be to save games, so you could have positioning of all the players and then replay that, animate that on the iPad. And that was really interesting. And that was a kind of a outside project, but quite cool, that I was happy with. And so right now I'm
with that, and I'm not even a coach.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was really cool. It was a Danish company that was doing that app to sell to trainers, and it works with football, which we were doing, but also of course basketball and whatever sport that is team sport. So it was very interesting. Yeah.
Nice. Now, when you say football, do you mean football or do you mean American football?
Oh yeah. Yeah, good question. I'm sorry. As being European, for me, football is just soccer. I mean,
okay, good. No, we're on the same page.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, so I felt stronger and stronger in programming. And one day in the school where I was the head of the music department, we got a new principal, and he was doing things that a lot of people didn't agree with. We had a lot of problems. Mm-hmm. And I was one of the syndicate people, so I had to both meet and argue for the staff and also for my own course with my students and my teachers. And after a while I thought, oh man, I'm coming home and I'm angry with my kids, and it's not their fault, it's because I'm have problems at work. So I found this job announcement that I got really curious. I've never thought before about like working full-time as a programmer because I'm an educated musician. I felt I have a good CV in music, and why should I do that? Right. But this announcement was interesting, and I was also in a very uncomfortable situation of a lot of conflicts at work. And I thought, let's give it a shot. So I went to this interview, and they gave me some code quizzes so that I should go in and try to answer as good as I could. And I love that kind of challenges. So I answered them with the answers to the codes, and they said, you're one of the best to answer this. So do you want to work with us? And I was, I thought, wow, now I have a bigger problem than I had before, because now I have to choose between careers. And it was really, felt great to be recognized, but also really strange. And then we talked a bit and some negotiations so that I was really sure this was going to be correct. and it turned out great. It was really nice people working there. I got to be in charge of a big refactor of Backbone app. In the beginning, we thought about going with React, but then we changed to Vue. And right now we're continuing that big refactor, and I'm a senior developer there, and also now I became the CTO of that kind of small company with 20 people, but it's growing really big and it feels really fun. So yeah, that was a game changer for me.
Is your job search stuck? Maybe you're not getting any interviews with employers, or maybe you are, but no job offers. Or you may be new and not even know where to start. This is Charles Max Wood, and I'm releasing a new course and ebook on how to find a job as a software developer. The course walks you through the process of finding the types of companies you want to work for, getting their attention, and putting your best foot forward as the candidate they want. I've coached dozens of developers in looking for jobs and have been able to help several people find jobs within 2 weeks to 2 months. So whether you're new to development, can't find a great job that fits what you want, or are looking for remote work from an area without a strong tech community, I can help. Go to getacoderjob.com and sign up today. Very cool. It's interesting too to talk through. Okay, so you weren't happy with what some of the things that were going on in your regular job, which wasn't a programming job, and then you answer an ad and they're impressed with you. And then how long have you been there to be, since you got there, now that you're CTO?
2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that a lot of people, they get this idea in their head that they kind of have to, the last interview I did, he called it making your bones. And so you have to go slog through the crap jobs and, do all the stuff that people don't want to do. And eventually, you make it so that you can go get the good jobs and things like that. But it sounds like that's not necessarily the case, that you can go and you can get a job that's great to work at. And even after a couple of years, they may recognize something in you and say, you know what, we want you to be the CTO.
Yeah, I think it's important also the attitude and to be able to explain how your previous experiences help in the job that you want to achieve. Mm-hmm. Because I've been working with choirs, I've been choir conducting, and that means having 50 people in front of me and having to make them sing happy and with energy. So I'm used to meeting people and encouraging them or give them some kind of happiness or motivation. And then I've also been working with bands in music, and some of them 15 years together, and it's a lot of group psychology happening there. It's a lot of motivation and goals and stuff. And when I can explain that I have some experience that can be applied with this group of people, with this group of programmers or singers or whatever, I think that gave me some points there. Because of course in programming I'm not as experienced even as someone that just came out of university. They have a wider knowledge than I have. But mm-hmm. I was good in JavaScript, and they wanted exactly to make a refactor of a JavaScript front end because backend is Python and that they have people taking care of that. So I was okay there. Then I was also interesting as a leader, a chief, because I've had that experience in the school where I was head of music department, and I was handling 15 teachers and 50 students that are around 18 to 25. So there is some similarities that I apparently could explain and make them think that I was worth it. And of course, the umbrella of all of this is there is a lot of need of programmers. I mean, Sweden, where I live, is crying for programmers and people working in the industry. So of course, that was my way in. Otherwise, other people with better CV would have come first. And even if I have good sides, they would not have been seen.
I think that's interesting. I hear a lot of people basically saying, I can't find a job as a programmer. In fact, I put together a course about it because I had so many people asking me about it. And in the larger markets, they kind of have their pick. And it hadn't occurred to me, maybe if you go to a smaller market, like Sweden, where there aren't as many people, you might have a better shot because it's easier to stand out if the crowd's not as big.
Yeah, that's true. And in Sweden, one of the door openers also is if you're interested in learning the language. It's kind of easy to be here 1 to 3 years speaking English and then go somewhere else. But if you want to learn the language and if you show that you are, planning to stay for long, then people invest in you in another way. And I was looking to some statistics, and the first or second working branch that imported most workforce was programming last year in Sweden. It's growing a lot, and a lot of more people is needed. So if other people are listening out there, welcome to Sweden.
Mm-hmm. What is the community like out there in Sweden?
Yeah, please ask more specific, but it's really interesting people from a lot of countries. It's really mixed. I've been meeting people from all over the world because Sweden doesn't produce enough Swedish programmers as the market consumes. So it's bringing a lot of people here, and I get to meet people from all over the world. Yeah.
That makes sense. Do you have a lot of like tech meetups, tech communities? Another measure that I see is, whether or not there are boot camps out there and things like that, teaching people to code. Are you seeing a lot of that start to come up in Sweden, or has it been there for a while?
Yeah, I think still .NET, Java is bigger community, at least for boot camps, and people that are doing JavaScript maybe are more self-taught. But if you think about meetups, it's really active, and Nordic JS is a very important meeting point for a lot of people from all over Europe. So it's really active community, and I've been myself engaged in the Vue.js meetup here in Sweden, in Stockholm. I started the meetup because we were one of the first ones to adopt Vue, and I was missing people to talk with. So I said, well, I just start the meetup because I've been attending React.js meetup here in Stockholm and other meetups, and I thought, let's put people together that like this, and it went really good. So people are both open to meet, even if they are not just doing Vue.js, they are curious. And other meetups that I've been attending, it's really nice atmosphere, and you get food and people welcome you and ask who you are and stuff like that. So it's really open.
How do you start a group like that? I know that some of the students that I've had for my courses, they're in an area where there really isn't a meetup. So how do you get that started? I recommend them a couple of resources, but I'd love to just talk through that.
Yeah. So I went to meetup.com, which is a platform that has kind of all the tools that you need. And being in a bigger city, they also promote it to other people that might be interested. So you choose some tags like JavaScript, of course, and maybe React or something else. And then people in other meetups from those tags will get a mail. Hi guys, someone opened this new meetup with this, you might be interested. So it's kind of opt-in approach. And the first meetup, I think we had like 20 people, and now we're up to 50, 60 people, which is more or less the size of the core community of Vue.js people in Stockholm.
Very cool. So you mentioned that you're Portuguese and you live in Sweden. Yeah. How did that come about?
Yeah, good question. So it was because of music. I was here doing some tours in Sweden, and I went to this school where I ended up working as a guest teacher, doing some workshops about Portuguese music. And then I fell in love with the concept of school there. So after some time, I emailed them and said, I want to work there. Do you have a work for me? And they said, well, you can have 2 hours of violin teaching per week. And I had met a Swedish girl, so I thought, we give that a shot. Let's try that. And the first year was a bit tough because I had only 2 hours a week. And what I did was to focus a lot of energy into the band that I had, and we got really nice awards worldwide. So that was good. But then they said in the school, you did good work, so you can work here full time the year after. And that was then it was worth staying. And after a while, I got to be the head of the music department there. So I was really, amazed also how they included me, which is, I don't want to be too political, but Sweden is having different political winds now. So they're not so open. Some people in Sweden are not so open to foreigners. The rest are still very open to foreigners. And it's just, in my perspective as a foreigner, of course, now I am a Swedish citizen, but it's a lot to win. I bring a new perspective and I learn a lot. And I can see both countries' cultures mixing, and I learn from it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense. What are you working on right now?
Yeah, so now I'm still in the company. We have a very big legacy code of Backbone that we have to put into Vue.js, and it's a medical journal app that we are working with. So a lot of schools in Sweden use our software to write stuff related to doctor appointments, to vaccination and stuff like that. It has to be stored in Sweden with secure data and stuff. And the UI is now more and more being Vue.js. I'm not programming so much anymore, unfortunately, but of course I also like the other side of it, which is managing people and putting things together, and see that we are using Kanban now and making sure that things go smoothly and everyone is happy and we produce good code. Yeah, so that's managing and programming. I got involved with one of the UI libraries for Vue out there, and we decided in the company that we are kind of sponsoring it with time and expertise. So we are also investing some time in that library that we use UI components from, because it's not important for us to make our own components. We just want the interface to work so that our product works for people. Yeah. Cool.
Is there anything else that you've worked on that you wanted to talk to me about or talk to our listeners about?
No, nothing. I could talk about music a lot because that's my background. And I've been finding more and more people that mix programming with music since I meet more people in the programming community. More and more people show up. Oh, I also play. Wow, cool. We should play someday and stuff like that. So I think I would say just, show what you do in your free time, and a lot of interesting conversations will show up.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, one more question, and then I think we'll go to picks. And that is, I've met a lot of people who are programmers who have some kind of musical background. And I'm curious to know what you think the correlation is. You know, what is there something that drives that, or is it just that, people and music and people? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think definitely there is a relation. Music is a lot of mathematics, and programming is also a lot of mathematics, a lot of logic at least. And when you do music, you have to, play on time, on beat, and synchronize with other people and solve small problems. There's so many decisions to take all the time. I was part of a workshop for American entrepreneurs where we were hired as orchestra to be in a hotel room. And it felt like really weird. I mean, why does someone book an orchestra to be in a hotel, like hotel room, like a meeting room? And then the conductor said to us, well, here are 20 promising entrepreneurs from the United States, and they are learning important stuff about managing people. So I'm going to conduct you in different attitudes, and let's see how it sounds. And then it starts to explain all the small decisions that the orchestra has to take and all the different attitudes you can conduct, and people get different response. So that's problem solving, it's managing people, and that's a lot of programming also. So I really do see the connections there. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, where do people go to find you online?
Yeah, they can find me on GitHub. They can find me on Stack Overflow, Portuguese Stack Overflow. I'm one of the mods there, and I can give you the links to my GitHub. Yeah, but my name is not so common, so people find me quite easy. Sérgio Crisóstomo, on GitHub. Yeah,
just put those links in the chat, and they'll wind up in the show notes.
Yeah, great. I'll do that.
All right, well, let's go ahead and do some picks. Do you have some things you want to shout out about on the show? Deploy more, pay less with DigitalOcean, the simplest all-in-one cloud computing platform for developers. Scale and run cloud applications faster and more efficiently with effortless administration tools to robust compute, flexible configurations, networking services, real-time alerts, and rapid provisioning, while enjoying industry-leading price to performance with a flat pricing structure across all global data center regions at any usage volume. Spend more time building better web apps and less time worrying about managing infrastructure with DigitalOcean. Build your next app on DigitalOcean. Get started with a free $100 credit at do.co/jabber.
Yeah, I would give a suggestion to listen to some Chopin, which is a great composer, and he wrote a lot of nice piano works. And now it's getting dark in Sweden. We are preparing for that dark autumn and winter times. So listening to some of Chopin's Nocturne is really cool. It gets you into a calm and zen programming mood. So that's a pick that I would like to share. And the other pick is Vue.js. If you don't know it yet, check it out. I think the concept of reactivity is really special and powerful. Of course, I love other frameworks, React, and I don't think that one is better than the other is anymore a discussion, gratefully, in the community. But Vue does have different approaches to things, and I think it's really cool to check it out.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to plug Views on Vue while we're at it. If you're a Vue developer, we do have a Vue podcast on devchat.tv, so check it out. And yeah, I mean, I love the idea of experimentation. And I also identify with that dark period. I lived in Alaska for a little bit. So yeah, of course, I was there mostly during the summer. So instead of it being dark all the time, it was light all the time. 1 a.m., you look out the window and it's still light outside. So
exactly.
Yeah, I can imagine what that's like. I'm going to shout out a few other things here real quick. One is I set up a Kickstarter for a project called CodeBadge, codebadge.org. And you can get on the launch list there. I also have a Kickstarter up, like I said, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes. But it's just a project where I get people asking all the time how they can stay current. And this is just a way for me to put that out there and not only give people a path to staying current, but also give them an opportunity to show people that they're staying current by awarding them badges when they do certain things. So I'll throw that out there on the show notes as well. And yeah, I don't think I have any other picks. You did mention in the chat that you're hiring at the place you work. You want to just plug that real quick? Yeah.
I mean, we are growing like 50% every year, and we really need more people. We just hired some people for testing now, and if there is someone wanting to work with Vue.js, JavaScript, and moving to Sweden, I'm really happy to be a mentor, because I came here to this country as a foreigner, and I've been learning JavaScript on my own, so I really like mentorship and give and take. So if someone wants to check out Sweden, let me know.
If somebody wanted to apply, what kinds of things are you looking for, especially if they're newer developers?
Yeah, we had an application of a guy that was too young and too inexperienced, and I told him this: I think you have potential. Go to Stack Overflow, make yourself like 1,000 points in JavaScript tag, and then you get a paid internship at us. Because I want people to show that they can, and if he does that, it's value for himself also. Then he has experience that he can show to other people. We are looking for both junior and senior developers, and if you know JavaScript, we can teach you the rest of Vue.js.
Awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I've got about 10 minutes before the next episode records, so we'll wrap this up. I'll go prep for that one. And anyway, thank you for coming and talking to us.
Yeah, thank you so much for letting me be part of the show. Thank you.
Yeah, this was fun. We'll have another story for you folks next week. Bandwidth for this segment is provided by CacheFly, the world's fastest CDN. Deliver your content fast with CacheFly. Visit CACHEFLY.com to learn more.